In the xy plane, the line determined by points 2, k and k, 32 passes through the origin. Which of the following could be the value of k? So let's try to figure out what concept this question is going for. And we could do that by just reading again, because sometimes you have to read the question more than once. Let's go for it. In the xy plane, the line determined by these 2 points, 2k and k32, passes through the origin. Which of the following could be the value of k? So maybe we should try to sketch this. Let's give it a shot here. I'm going to try to create an x and y plot like that and use some of the information given. One thing that we know for a fact is that the line passes through the origin, so that's great. We can actually draw our first dot right through the origin. Of course, this being the y-axis and the x-axis. So we know that the line has to pass through there. The rest is just, we kind of have to guess where 2k is. At least we know the x value is 2. So it's right around there. We don't know what the y value is, so we just kind of pretend that that's where it is. And the other point given, k, 32, we don't know the x value this time, but we do know the y value. So we don't know what this x value is, but we can kind of guess. Sketch it, the 32 is probably right around there. So if you drew a line, right, as you can see, the line has to pass through all of those points. Yes, sure enough, we guessed where this one is, and we guessed this one is. But the good news is we know that the k's are the same. So whatever k value we have, we can pretty much answer this question by figuring that out. Now, here's the fact. When you're finding slope, which is letter m, by the way, you use this formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It doesn't matter which points you use. One student or one person could choose these 2 points to find the slope, and the next student might say, well, I don't want to use those 2 points. I'm going to use these 2 points. And the next student could yet still say, I don't want to use either of those points. I am going to use this one and that one. So I believe the point here is you can use any 2 points on a line to find its slope. So because we know that this line passes through the origin, one of the points that we have to feature is that one, because we know that is a fact. And then we have these other points, we have the 2, k as one of the points given, and we have k, 32 as the other point given. We do know, though, that whatever points we decide to use, the slopes have to be the same. So why don't we actually use these 2 first to find the slope? Remember, the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's say k minus 0 over 2 minus 0. And the reason we're doing that is I've decided to call this pair x1, y1 and call this pair x2, y2. All right, and then for the other points, the other point given, the k32, we can use it with this sure point. So we definitely want to keep using this certain point, the 0, 0, because we know that that's a fact. And using those 2 points, let's call this one x2, y2. Its slope would be 32 minus 0 over k minus 0. And remember what we just talked about. The slope of a line is the same. It doesn't matter which points you use. So this slope has to equal that slope. It doesn't matter how which points we decided to use, but those slopes have to equal each other. Now with a little bit of algebra, k minus 0 is just going to be k over 2 must be equal to 32 minus 0, which is 32 over k. And now we have a nice proportion here that we can solve. Remember that when you're solving for proportions, all you do is cross multiply. So we would have k times k, which is k squared, equals 2 times 32, which is 64. And you can see this works out really nicely for us. K squared is square rooted, becomes just k, and the square root of 64 is 8. And that makes C the answer to this question.